Yo, what's poppin', everybody? How y'all doing out there today? Welcome back to the podcast, another episode of Caffeine and Green with your man, Conor Cardenas. And before we get into it today, man, I just want to give a huge shout out to the title sponsor of Caffeine and Green, which is Seven Seas Roasting Company, coming straight out of San Diego, my home roaster. Now, what makes this roastery so sick is that we get to work with these farmers. We're not just getting these coffees, we're working with them directly and making sure that everybody's taken care of. So we're not taking care of just the consumer, we're taking care of that farmer as well. So it's really awesome. We get to showcase these coffees. Now, full transparency, I am the head roaster at Seven Seas. But regardless, you know that the coffee that I'm giving you is straight fire, yo. So if you head over to the website, sevenseasroasting.com, use my code C and G at checkout, you're going to get 3 bags of coffee for $30. That's an amazing deal because 2 bags of coffee is essentially $32. So you're getting a bag for free. It's a no-brainer. So you can go over to the website, choose from any of the coffees that we have, like our dark Guatemala, which is chocolatey and it's full-bodied and it's a little bit of our dark roast. And it's just, we have other options. We have a Peruvian, we have our Lao coffees, the Fodom Kwan, our new Lao, and Setapung as well. So we got options, people. So use that coffee code C and G at checkout, and you'll be good. My guest today, Ashley Riot. This is my man coming straight out of San Diego. I mean, he's originally from New York, but we get into that. He is currently a tattooer at Left Hand Black in San Diego, California. And Ashley's a cool dude, man. I really enjoyed having him on. He's now the second tattooer that I've had from Left Hand Black, again, in San Diego, California. Shout out to my man Turk, who be running that spot. And Ashley has, I don't know, man, he has some skills that, are second to none. I really enjoyed having him on. We got into how he's traveled the world through tattooing, what he's doing currently, and why he loves San Diego so much. So, without further ado, my man Ash, this your time to shine, homie. Let's go. Caffeine and green. It's your boy Connor. What's good? Good. Caffeine and green. And we're live.
Hey.
Cheers, sir.
Cheers.
Fuck yeah, you got your cold. Damn, you tanked that cold brew real fast.
Yeah, I tend to sip quickly.
Damn. You gotta be careful, bro. That
It's
shit's
a
gonna keep you up
situation
all
I
night.
bargain with all
It's
the
a
time.
situation. Dude, okay, so for everybody who doesn't know who I'm talking to right now, this is Ashley Riot is sitting in front of me. Tattoo artist at Left Hand Black. What we currently share the wall with at Seven Seas in downtown San Diego.
Hell yeah.
South Park, if you will. Yeah, dude. You're pretty new to the area.
Yeah, I'm a recent transplant for sure.
How new?
Just under a year. May 15th will be a year that I
shit.
got out here. Yeah.
Really?
Still all very new to me. But
Dude, I can
exciting.
definitely understand. Yeah. And you came from New York.
That's true. I did.
Dude, we're in New York.
A long road trip of about 14 days all spaced out to get out here. But from upstate New York, closer to Canada.
Niagara Falls-ish, around
Yeah,
there?
about 2 hours out from there. A little small city named Syracuse.
Syracuse?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
the oranges?
Yeah, that's all they got is,
Dude,
is
yeah.
that sports team.
The little
And
town.
a lot of snow, bro.
Damn. How close is that to Woodstock?
Oh, fuck, man. I'm not sure. Not too far out.
Okay, so you're out in the country then, because that's completely different from what people might even think about New York City in general, right?
Yeah, for certain. It's definitely a little more backwoods, but still a city, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, so did you tattoo out there?
Eventually, yeah. I grew up there and then kind of just I felt like, a caged bird at some point and just needed to migrate and see.
Spread those wings.
Yeah, dude, see the rest of the world, what
Yeah.
different situations have to offer. I moved from there when I was 20 to Providence, Rhode Island, and worked at a Whole Foods out there, like morning shifts, like searching for a decent, proper apprenticeship. Because this is back in the days before tattoo schools or any stuff like that. Like, the only way to get into it was really just finding a mentor that was worth a shit, that wasn't going to treat you like complete trash.
Yeah.
There's a
in
middle
Providence,
ground there.
Rhode Island.
Well, I only lived there for about 3 months.
Oh, okay.
And then
Okay.
one of my good friends from upstate New York area who had moved out to Providence to learn, he got a job at a shop in Boston, and still to this day, that friend still lives in New York City, which is great because I always have a couch and a good friend out there.
Buttery.
But checked out the shop in Boston. Had a talk with the two dudes who own that place, both tattooing like 15 plus years. I think one of them was over the 20-year mark, even by that point. And they let me be the counter dude. I worked hard for a year, and then, they saw I was drawing and painting all the time, and eventually it just flourished into a real true apprenticeship.
Rad.
With all the dramas of it and
Dramas. I mean, I don't. I didn't really get too much into that aspect of it with Turk. I mean, he's been established and he's been on the TV show and stuff like that. But what dramas go into that?
I mean, the stress of always like working 2 jobs and dealing with the personalities of a tattoo shop. I mean, it's really nice to be working in the situation I'm in now because it is a much more relaxed and less ego-filled scenario than I have dealt with in a lot of scenarios in the past. So
yeah,
it's a pleasure. When you're learning from 2 separate guys who just recently opened a shop together and they're kind of still feeling each other out, and you get to watch that unfold, and then you're the messenger boy between them.
That's no fun.
Yeah, it can get pretty interesting.
Dude, that's crazy. So I mean, actually, that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. So as being a tattoo artist, you have a lot of art that goes into it, a lot of creativity. So based on what you were just saying, I mean, if 2 dudes who are well established and they're filling each other out, obviously, I mean, just hearing that, my initial thought would be, why did they not work that out beforehand? But
right.
In that sense, in the case where you're the situation you were in, was it more of a battle of egos, artwork, methods of teaching others how to do things?
Probably sectors of all 3, quite honestly. Yeah. I mean, tattooing is a bizarre and beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of unruly people doing it.
Unruly people. Damn.
So it's strange.
So what was one thing that, maybe one time when you maybe were doing something that was taught to you and like maybe how to pull a line, or was it maybe like shading and it just completely caused a rift between?
No, I would say it was less the technical aspects of it and more so just outside personal stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay. That's interesting.
Regardless, I got taught well, in that scenario. So it was well worth all of the gripes of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how long did you stay out there for?
Just about 5 years.
5 years.
So, yeah.
From apprenticeship to the time that you were ready
to the time that because I was from New York, I had quite a few more friends that had that friend that I had mentioned that I said still lives in the city. He had parted ways with them for reasons sort of what we were just discussing, and I decided to move back upstate because I had a lot more flesh to poke up there on the regular.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my friends were coming down to get tattooed on weekends when they could and stuff. And I just saw the opportunity. One of my friends had recently left a shop back home and opened his own. So there was space for me and I knew I could flourish there. So
sick. Kind of spread your wings a little bit.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, Boston, I don't know, if you spent any amount of time there, but
I've never been there yet.
For a couple months in the summer, it's really beautiful and definitely worth taking in, but at the same time winters are brutal, and because it's right on the coast, there's a harbor part of the city and whatnot, but the rent is the same as San Diego. So
rent in terms of living expenses, or rent at the tattoo shop?
Rent in terms of living expenses.
Oh wow.
So for me being a beginner, I spent my life savings to live there for 5 years to learn how to tattoo. So at some point I just needed to cut out of the big city rent.
Yeah.
Reset.
Of course. I mean, dude, you got to start saving a little bit more, I
was still a young kid that I think when I moved back to New York, I was 23 24.
Oh wow, so you relatively right out of high school you went into tattooing.
Yeah. I wasn't so interested in pursuing like college kind of stuff. I already knew from just like drawing and like as a kid going to like punk rock hardcore shows and stuff. I was already very interested in tattooing people. It was priority over everything else. I was working 2 jobs from when I was like 17 trying to get into
the life.
Yeah, dude.
Dude, that's interesting. It's refreshing to hear that because I rebelled against going to college myself, but then I ended up getting into college. I got into Penn State, so I was on the East Coast myself right out of high school. But my friend yesterday who was on the show, Jensen, he's a barber and he's 22 and he left high school and went straight into barber school. And he was like, yeah, bro, I'm only 22. And he told me how he did this and he was gone for 2 years in South City, San Francisco, and going to barber school, doing that. And then now he's back and he found his way basically to the barber shop that he's at, which is in Encinitas, the Lucchetti barbershop. And
Right
I was
on.
like, wow, dude. He's like, yeah, my college education was barber school. So much like yourself, I mean, he just skipped that, all that BS and just went straight to what he knows he wanted to do.
Right.
That's awesome. That's refreshing to hear, man. That's so. Were you already, tattooing people in their garages or tattooing homies or like stick and pokes?
That's another really weird thing is that I kind of like before I found going to shows and like seeing people with tattoos, it had never really crossed my mind as a kid. I drew all the time, but at the same time, I was really into doing karate. And that, like,
Really?
competitive karate, like going to tournaments and
Really?
fighting strangers and stuff, 3-round.
Just kick some
kumite.
ass. Damn.
And that, like, really took over most of, other than video games, like, it was video games or karate until I was, like, 16. And then, like,
Whoa.
you're in high school and shit, and teachers and people are like, what are you doing for the rest of your life? So...
Dude, that's such bullshit,
like,
though. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I was annoyed with that whole concept to begin with, and then I started, like I said, going to shows and fucking jumping off the stage and shit.
Just living
and,
it.
like, just seeing people with tattoos that weren't just garbage bullshit. And
Yeah.
that really was what perked my interest to begin with.
Okay.
And then from there, like, I was already saving to get tattooed by, 16, 17, so when
To get tattooed?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I got a couple of clunkers in the beginning, but I learned pretty quickly
Got some clunkers.
how to do my research. So like I started as a collector for sure. I was trying to just like travel around, see new cities and
get tattooed?
Get some rad tattoos. Yeah.
Wow. Really?
So,
That's what
yeah.
you did? Dude,
Yeah, that's how
cool.
I first kind of, met a few people that gave me sound advice as opposed to like small town aggressive, like passive aggressive advice just to, steer you away from
While they're
that goal.
while they're tattooing you,
Yeah,
and then
for
you're
sure.
probing them to find out which direction you wanted to go. Is that what you mean?
Exactly.
Oh wow. Okay, that's pretty
It was-
interesting.
Yeah, it was very much the mentality back, 13, 14 years ago when I was trying to pursue it in the beginning.
Wow,
It's
dude.
still definitely an attitude that's around. It's just been crushed a little bit by just exposure, over time.
Instagram,
It's not
stuff
like
that.
such a, it still is to some degree a secret craft, but also, the dudes who have been doing it for a long time are opening up tattoo schools and stuff. And, with the right amount of money, you can get that knowledge.
Yeah, I
So
didn't.
it's a really interesting time for tattooing because that's happening now. for,
What
like,
is
the first
tattooing
time.
school? I've never heard of this.
It only goes on in certain places.
Cities.
Like I've seen it in New York City. I've seen it in, I think Oregon is has embraced it pretty hard. But there's just, I don't know, there's some tattooers behind it that essentially work with local government and spill out some program.
Wow, really?
Yeah, which...
Maybe like
There-
is
it's a-
it a 2-year
it's a
program,
point of
4-year
debate.
program?
I don't even think it's very long, bro. It's kind of terrifying.
Holy shit! It's like, yeah, here, learn the basics and then go out
And
into the world and start
exactly,
tattooing.
with no kind of extra help to it at all. So that's interesting in its own right. I'm just at this point very happy and thankful that I did go through a bit of hell to in real tattoo shops to kind of give me that perspective that is could potentially be lost pretty quickly, which is weird.
You think so?
I don't know. I certainly hope not.
Well, because unlike, I don't know, working in coffee with coffee roasters or even barista espresso machines, you guys don't really have the risk of automation because tattooing is such a craft, right? Where it's done with your hands and things like that. Or
I certainly hope so. But I mean, you watch some of the technology happening now, like that company Boston Dynamics.
Oh, dude.
It's just like, I don't know what 10 years from now brings when those dudes are like using their brains to do stuff like that.
Dude, I hope
it's crazy, man.
I have mixed thoughts about Boston Dynamics. I've watched a lot of the YouTube videos that they'll have out, and you see, dude, they have this one robot that does push-ups, and the machine gets warm, and they put panels on it for it to sweat, for it to cool down the machine, bro. It blows my fucking... Why? Why are you building that machine to do that? Just because. But what is that giving birth to? You know? I mean, I don't understand the purpose of it. And the one thing that I always constantly think about Boston Dynamics is, if these guys are so smart, why is there somebody not sitting there saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this, having a point where these machines are going to be able to talk to each other. They have their own languages, things that we're not going to be able to prevent, and making things self-aware. It's a little scary, but at the same time, we're already living that. We're already living in that. What we're doing right now, running through an audio interface, running through a computer that's connected to the internet, and streaming it live.
It's already all implemented.
Bro, it's inevitable, right? So it's sure. Sorry, but yeah,
I agree. I go down these rabbit holes constantly.
Dude, though, Boston Dynamics is trippy. Or you see they're designing those machines that they're kicking over, and they can just like pop back up.
Yeah.
Dude, it's straight up real life Terminator. You know what I mean?
It's pretty close, yeah.
You ever seen, or you ever heard the theory about The Simpsons, and how The Simpsons, they've been around for so long, and they always made these ridiculous episodes where Donald Trump would be the president, or, certain things happen. And every time it happens now, especially with social media, it gets released like, The Simpsons predicted this, episode 220.
Prophecy.
Yeah.
Matt Groening.
Dude, Matt Groening.
Modern prophet.
Bro, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, did you know about that stuff?
No, I haven't really...
Google that
heard
shit.
About that.
I am so serious about it.
That's mad funny.
I don't think it's actually the Donald Trump thing, but there was a lot of things that have happened on it that have become true. And I always think about, my own personal thought is, somebody like George Lucas, when you make Star Wars, how the fuck did that fool think about these things? I mean, there's definitely, he grew up, or I don't know where he grew up, but he went to school in the Bay Area or something, but they have the docks in Oakland that are pretty much what the machines were based off of, right? But how do you think about some Ewoks? How do you think about these other space aliens? Like, did he have some gnarly acid trip or a psychedelic trip? Or
quite potentially.
Is there a small I don't even want to say percentage, but just a small factor that just maybe, everything's already happened, and it's like genetic memory. Shit into the future type of things. Do you have thoughts on that?
Oh man, that's a difficult topic to cross.
I mean, dude, what are your thoughts? Tell me, what do you think?
I think I might have to vote option A, the acid trip.
I think so
I'm not
too.
sure I can buy into the second one.
Dude, my homie.
I mean, my understanding of math isn't perfect, but time travel stuff is... I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it as far as a believer.
Well, not even that. How about a genetic memory? Genetic memory is something that is such an interesting thought that I've been thinking about a lot of recently. When I did mushrooms once, I was like peaking hard, and I was just like staring off into space. And the first thing I thought of was, how the fuck did we come up with language? At what point in this world, we've been here for how many billions of years? And at what point did the humans look at something and we made sounds with our mouths, and we all started to agree that when I say hello, you say hello back, or we just waving your hand or doing some fucking weird ass thing. But I started to think about it, and then I'm going to Rome, like I was mentioning to you earlier. And the whole thing with Rome is that it's year one in documented history. that's the first civilization. But by no
Yeah,
means
that's where the Christian history began.
yeah,
more or
and
less,
philosophy and other things, but by no means was it the beginning of time or beginning of humans as a whole. So, there's all this other shit before it, but there's recorded history starts in Rome. So I think about these things and I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Where did this all come from? How did, there has to be some sort of genetic memory that we have. I heard an argument once where they were talking about why we look up when things are going, because they found old human skulls that the insides are scratched out, like the top of a skull is scratched out with deep ass, what would assume be a fang or something like that. Or it could be a bird from when birds were hella back in the day, dinosaurs. They would have these talons and just fucking scoop them up. And then just in the top of the head, these talons, and then they scratch the domes,
Damn.
some shit like that. So I think about these things, not when I'm only on psychedelics, but just in general. So I'm just like, dude, there has to be something there. Genetic memory, or just some shit that has been passed on through centuries and millennia and all these other things.
Yeah, I guess in that regard, I definitely believe in that sort of, over the eons of humans suffering on this planet, figuring out a way to survive. There's definitely survival instincts and genetic memory kind of stuff that you're talking about, that just like, even though we're living in a different technological time, all that stuff is still buried inside of us, and we don't have control over it. It comes out when it wants to.
Yeah,
it's a very interesting thing.
I agree.
And a lot of just social interactions and stuff are totally based on that person. Every individual separately is
Did
dealing
you ever
with those things is just bizarre.
Do you ever think, obviously every time two different people, especially from around the world, they make a new person essentially, right? Your DNA gets mixed with that person and then boom, you're a new person. But when it comes to, how do I put this? When it comes to, you look at your family tree and you're like, there's some spitting images. Like, yo, this is the great grandfather. It's like, damn, you look just like your cousin. A couple generations later, do you ever think that maybe in the, based on who you are and all these other things, that maybe like thousands of years ago, there was an exact replica of you right now, but without tattoos? Dude, you know what I mean? Like, damn, like you, holy shit, there was another Ash walking around just like you, same build, same everything, same hair. Fucking
Man.
Minus the tattoos. Maybe you were like a Maori, Maori, like you're a Maori person, just fucking
some hand poked.
Dude, yeah, bro, and you're fucking just slapping your chest up, boom,
chopped up alligator tooth, just
dude,
poking shit in
yeah,
my
bro.
arm.
Talking about like, oh, this shit's tight as fuck, but in that language, whatever you're speaking back in the day.
Shit, hanging out like a jaguar all day long,
dude,
waiting with a spear to jump out of a tree onto some antelope or some shit.
Dude, straight up, bro.
A thunder lizard. I don't know exactly what humans were hanging out with back in the day.
Dude, have you heard of the stoned ape theory? Have you heard of that?
I have, yeah.
Dude, what do you think about that? Eating mushrooms and figuring out how to make fire was what made our brains double in size?
Yeah, dude. I mean, anyone I feel like that has ever really dabbled with mushrooms at all can definitely see that as a possibility. I feel like it certainly makes you think slightly differently than your normal mindset,
Oh, yeah.
Which has an extreme value to it. And if that's the case, that's like the invention that, spurred all of this madness.
Dude, there was one thing my friend Jensen was telling me yesterday. He said he did DMT before, and when he long story, but when he almost died. And when he said he almost died, he passed out from hydration or something, or dehydration, and he said he had a full DMT trip. And I was like, how do you know it was DMT? He's like, oh, I'd already done it.
Oh, but shit. Okay.
He felt like he was dying or he was about to die, and his body sent like a huge DMT like shock into his body. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, dude, I knew it was a DMT trip because of the fact that he'd already done it before. And that was such a trip to me.
Yeah. I mean, I know I've heard, it's been explained to me and I've read that DMT is what gets kind of flushed into your system right before you do pass.
Yeah.
So that it does make sense. I knew it was already in you to begin with. It's just hard to get it to show its face.
Well, dude, they say it's in your
So-
liver or kidneys, one of those two, and then it's also in your lungs, and then in your pineal gland and your third eye, if you
lizard
really
brain,
believe that. Dude. Fucking A. But either way, sorry, I got off on a little tangent there. But I wanted to ask you about how it is that you got from New York to here. I know that Turk basically kind of poached you from out there?
Sort of. I'd been, ever since I had left Boston, I'd just sort of been traveling since then and always coming back, doing guest spots just to, keep up with my family and stuff. I got a younger brother and a younger sister.
Sick.
My
So you're the
parents
oldest?
are both healthy.
Nice.
My mom and my stepdad. Yeah, I'm the oldest, so I've kind of just been a voyager for as long as possible. Just,
A wanderlust.
seeing what I can. Yeah, dude, it's it's an addiction for sure, especially once it's been, constant for a long time. It's hard to switch it up because it is really fun. But strangely enough, since I moved out to San Diego, I've done very little traveling. So
dude, it
I
gets
think
tough.
that's a good sign.
Yeah.
I really like it here. But I moved back from Europe to New York about 3 years ago now, and was working with one of my really old friends again, doing a whole bunch of guest spots down in New York City, and I just wanted to travel somewhere that was new, inspirational, and with a way better weather system than where I was living. So at first, one of my really good friends, the dude who tattooed all of my throat, he had moved down to Nashville, and I went down there a few times and checked out that area, and it seemed pretty cool.
Dude, it's super sick there.
But one of my friends, also a tattooer, she has lived in San Diego for a few years now, and had mentioned that just in general, it seemed like a place that I would be really into, because I'm like a hoodie kind of guy. I just like to
just a light hoodie with
that's
like the hood up.
A little drizzle is perfect. Days like today just make me like my inside smile. It's
Okay.
rad to just get, a little rain, sun, clouds forever. That's so cool.
Oh yeah.
So I came out here and guested at a different shop from Left Hand Black, and it was cool, but there was something that just didn't feel right about it.
Didn't click.
And she kind of sensed that and mentioned that on the side she sells like bone and crystal jewelry.
Is this the owner of that shop?
She just works there.
Oh, a girl that
Yeah.
worked there? Okay.
She's from Denver. Hi, Christy, if you ever hear this. But anyways, she brought me to Left Hand Black because she sells jewelry to Turk's wife.
Oh, Crystal?
So, yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, so there was that cool little connection. And the second that I walked in the door and met the two of them, I was pretty sold on making sure that I came back and did guest spots at Left Hand Black. So I came out and did 2 guest spots, and then one of Turk's employees left, and that left an opportunity for me to have a booth there, which the second that he sent me that message, I was, already in my head. I was already packing up, I was ready to.
So how do you
Wow,
how do
yeah.
you ask to do that? You're like, hey man, I'm a tattooer. I would love to be a guest spot, or do you have to wait for them to initiate that?
Yeah, it's a sticky situation. I've done it both ways throughout my career, depending. But in this scenario, I had already had sort of an in at the other shop, so it was pretty easy for me to come figure out dates and stuff. Most shops, tattooers want to go on vacation like everybody else.
Of course.
So if you're in good rapport with them, there's always going to be, like, I could potentially be going back to New Orleans this month, but I'm content being in San Diego right now. So
Yeah.
I was just out there a few months ago.
Yeah, during Mardi Gras, right?
Yeah, that was rad.
Dude, what's that like?
Semi-organized chaos. It was dope, man. It was
Nice.
just like, and I put in work while I was there. The shop was open from noon to midnight. Almost every day I was out there, and I just would start between noon and 2 every day and grind pretty much till midnight every night, which was cool because it kept me away from the complete madness of the crowds.
Yeah.
And I was able to, meet some new people. including the shop had like 12, 13 tattooers on staff. Like it was like a conveyor belt production style. Like
Whoa.
so many tattoos to do in a day. It was crazy. I was doing like 10 plus tattoos a day, which is weird because you wouldn't necessarily think about tattoos as the first thing happening at Mardi Gras, but there's just such an influx of people in the city that
From all over the place.
dude.
Yeah.
And it was nice to have like the tattoo shop had a good front line of like shop people to just kind of like weed out the really drunk ones, so that by the time they hit you, like it's a pretty easy conversation and fun bullshitting. And then once I wrapped up my stuff at midnight, I mean the city was still
Popping.
yeah, dude, it was a mess. People falling over each other, like
But loving
people
it,
like
though.
laughing and vomiting and then continuing to laugh, like people walking straight up into dumpsters and falling like into trash cans because they didn't see it and falling over.
Yes.
Just, dude, messes everywhere. And it was rad to kind of start the party late, so to speak, so that I could just like
Yeah.
see the chaos unraveling.
So do they I take it they don't close everything down at 2:00 the way
Nah,
they do
dude.
here?
And I mean, even I'm not exactly sure what time everything closed up at night, but I do know that it was just like there was like people with like carts behind cars and shit with like just like blasting music. So it's just like parties in intersections and shit too. It was real
So it
crazy.
doesn't
And that
really
wouldn't die
stop.
down. No, it didn't die down till like past 3 a.m. And then at some point around like 4:30, they just cut through the city with fire hoses and just like literally hose down the entirety of the sidewalk because it's just like
Just gross
pressure
by
wash
that.
it,
Yeah.
dude. It's insane. And like,
Dude, I've never been there, but I heard it just smells like stale beer.
yeah, it's crazy. The whole city is sort of, and it's just strange to walk around and see like, you know, such beautiful architecture and just the setup of the city is very rad. And then just like all these transplant humans just being total messes. And
Yeah.
like, you know, on parade days, there's like a sea of little plastic beads, like to the point that
Oh,
in
yeah.
some areas you go to step and you're just like, literally like in fucking cartoons, like you feel like you're on marbles. You're just like
you're just
moving
slipping
with
and
the
shit?
sidewalk,
Oh,
dude.
Whoa.
It's just like unreal. Like I can't even imagine how many beads get like washed into the fucking waste system of the city every year.
Do you just
But-
seen mad boobies everywhere?
Weirdly enough, I guess they passed some laws that restricted that. So it's
What?
way more mellow, dude. I was expecting
Aw.
that. Maybe I just didn't hit the right parade or something.
Bro, you
Maybe
weren't
I
hanging out
missed-
in the wrong
yeah,
part.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I missed that parade, I think.
Dude, that's hilarious.
Yeah, the day that I was out, I was like trying not to trip over strollers and stuff. People had their kids out.
Oh, so you went to
Crazy,
Family Day.
man.
Family Day Mardi Gras.
Yeah, well, I guess the one day the shop was closed is like parade day.
Oh,
you know?
okay, so that's
it's
the
like,
day.
Yeah.
Damn, so did
I
you...
heard about a bunch of other cool little parades, but like I said, I was grinding the whole time I was there. But
Yeah,
it was
so you're
well worth
working.
it.
So work trip, but I mean, were you able to at least enjoy, I mean, not to hate on New Orleans. Like I said, I've never been there, and I'm definitely not trying to hate on any type of smells or anything like that. It's just it's what I've been told. But I also heard that there is like the beignets and the Cajun shrimps and all that stuff. I ate
well while I was
You
there.
ate well?
dude.
Yeah?
it was
All right.
awesome.
Dude, what's your favorite thing to eat out there?
It's tough to say, man. I had some fish tacos that were fucking amazing with like fried catfish.
Oh my God! Really?
The biscuits and gravy, man. Just
That's
I mean,
that down
fried
south.
chicken too. Yeah, I mean
It's that
it's
Creole though,
Louisiana,
right?
man.
So it's like French,
yeah,
French Southern cooking almost.
It was awesome.
Did you run into anybody who would speak just like beautiful fluent French or Creole, and it's just like that swamp type?
Dude, I wish I had. Maybe I do have to go back during like a less touristy season so I can get a little bit more of that feel.
Dude, what about the music? Did you get down with any of that music? The bands and the do, 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 you know what I mean? Like, dude, that shit's tight.
Yeah, they're actually the bar right next to the shop was like kind of playing some rad, like jazzy, good music as
Epic.
opposed to it was weird because since it was like parades and stuff, you know, there's just like
A lot of
radio
shit.
jams and bullshit pumping. Like it's weird.
Radio jams. Dude, I was in Pensacola, Florida once, and there was
Because essentially it's like, you feel like you're like, it's such a hodgepodge of people that you kind of feel like you're on spring break at the same time.
Well, yeah.
There's college kids everywhere fucking hammer drunk, like.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean.
Like trying awkwardly to communicate with each other. So it's just that in itself was fun to people watch.
Yeah. Well, no, the music for me was amazing. When I was in Pensacola that one time, we were there for a music festival, and they brought a New Orleans essentially jazz band, but it had all this amazing brass and trumpets and tubas and these things, and they're just bumping and they're just getting into it. And I was all, hell yeah, this shit is fucking lit. I can't even imagine if I went to New Orleans, I'd just be the whole time just like, son, what are you doing? Just walking down the street dancing.
Yeah, Dude. It was pretty rad because I stayed in a guest apartment attached to the tattoo shop, like on the second floor. So there's like a nice little balcony. So like by the time I would wake up, man, it was like 11:30. Like music was just already to be heard.
Yeah,
like I didn't even need an alarm to wake up because it was just like, rad. I'm waking up to like some good music. It's cool.
Dude, that's rad. Hell yeah. So, sorry, got sidetracked, but so you came back out to San Diego. You got some guest spots, and so at what point did Turk approach you and say, "Hey, I want you to be a permanent person, a permanent stay, and don't go back to New York"?
I want to say he might have been making jokes by the end of the first guest spot, but by the second time I was packing up to head back, he had mentioned that, you should just stay or plan on coming back really soon. So
sick.
Yeah.
Is that just the vibe because of the people in there? Was it the work that you were doing, the artwork specifically?
Probably a mixture of the two, I would say.
Sick.
Like Turk does a pretty good job of making it so that each of us, it's cool that we all get along and do like separate styles of tattooing, so there's no really headbutting in that regard. It's cool.
Yeah. So I mean, you, from the looks of your tattoos, you have a lot of Japanese, and you're doing a full body piece, right? You have the suit.
Yeah, more or less. I'd say I have a mixture of like Japanese stuff and like American traditional.
Okay.
Mixed in. My legs look a lot more that way. I guess my back piece being Japanese kind of is.
Well, yeah, I didn't know.
All-consuming because it's so big.
Dude, I didn't know you were doing a full body suit until you came in that one day. Where, oh yeah, Turk's tattooing my butt.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Like I said, like I'm a hoodie kind of dude. Like even though I'm like pretty much tattooed up to my face, like I kind of keep it quiet. I'm usually.
Yeah.
Out here, there's some days that it gets so hot that I'm wearing sleeveless shirts and stuff.
Oh,
and
nice.
Like, you can see a little more of the.
Dude, I would just not even wear a fucking shirt if I had a full body piece.
I keep it discreet. It's funny. People will like know me for a couple of years and then be like, "Wait, what the fuck?"
Yeah, dude. That's amazing. Why did you want to do that? Just because?
Yeah, it just kind of happened pretty quickly too.
Really?
Yeah.
Once you got into it,
once I was
this is
getting
the way
tattooed,
I want to go.
Like I want to say my fourth tattoo was my chest, and then maybe my sixth or seventh was my stomach. So I was already trying to let people do larger pieces on me, and I guess I've always sort of been interested in like pushing the boundaries of new things that I discover, so that I can just feel it out and then know it from there. And it was like I started getting tattooed on my arms, and then my chest was so brutal. I was like, oh, how long can I sit? Just as like a personal test to myself.
Yeah.
And I sat for like 6 hours on my stomach, and after that I was like, okay, I'm good. I know what it's like to.
Whoa, dude!
to
6
really
hours of straight. Was that line work, shading?
Yeah, it was the whole shebang. So yeah,
oh,
lined it
man.
all, black shaded it all, and then color over that. It gets pretty brutal with all the wiping by the end.
Fuck yeah, dude! How long does that take to heal?
Dude did it right, so it only took like, let's say, a week and a half, and it was pretty good.
Were you able to sleep at night, or were you able to just like, we're like, nah, bro?
Yeah,
sleeping on the back.
It was pretty awkward. Yeah, I slept on my back the whole time.
Damn, dude, that's fucking. I've only have one piece on my ribs, but I haven't gone too deep into it yet. As you can see, my arms. You did this newest piece right here. But
very happy to do that,
dude. Yeah, no, it's been coming out sick. Even my dentist today, I went and got to the dentist, and she was looking at it, and she was like, "Oh, that looks pretty fresh." And I was like, "Yeah, Got it done last week, so it's looking good. But the arms is chill, but much like you're describing, chest and stomach, to me, it's like, dude, holy hell, I don't know, bro.
Yeah, you're taking on a new kind of brutality and welcoming it.
Well, because
and
especially if
just-
you're not muscular, if it's just straight, almost bone.
Yeah, it's weird though. I feel like when it comes to getting your core tattooed, it doesn't matter what shape you are. That shit is gonna hurt regardless.
Regardless.
You know, like I've seen some like being around tattoo shops for as many years as I have now. Like I've seen coworkers deal with as funny of events as I've had to deal with. You know, but I've seen some really heavy set dudes try and get some like giant old English across their stomach or something, and it's just
No bueno.
yeah, dude, cringy.
Dude,
It's
no
strange
way.
that we get amusement out of that sometimes, but yeah.
You need to feel it sometimes. I mean, I don't know how I don't know how you think about it, but for me, when I started getting tattooing, I never felt a pain like that. That pain of like that piercing of the needle, and then that sound. It's undeniable, that sound and that feeling. And then I remember getting this first piece up here that was actually, you know, a pretty big piece, but feeling it, and then after I was like, oh, I want to get another one. And then you go back, and it's almost therapeutic in a sense, and then it's also addicting, and then also at the same time of all that, you kind of long for it after a while. You're like, dude, I fucking really want to get another tattoo just to feel it. It's not even just about what you want. It's you want that feeling. I mean, how do you think about it?
I agree with you, and on all fronts there.
On all of them?
Yeah,
Yeah. Sick.
it's weird because it is like, for me now, having like putting tattoos on people all the time, I've definitely slowed down getting tattooed personally.
Yeah.
Which is strange because for a long time I was, you know, like you said, I'm going for a full bodysuit, so I was getting hammered on a lot for a lot of years, and then all of a sudden it's just like I've chilled out, even though I still have some gaps to fill and whatnot. So every once in a while I kind of just, it works itself out, and I feel like I gotta get tattooed. You know, there'll be certain days where I'll like Turk finishing up my back, you know?
Yeah, that just happened.
Before that, I want to say in New York, I was like, just woke up one day and like, man, it's time to fill up this little spot on my hand. And like, I just showed up to work and like had my boss. I'm like, hey man, you got like 45 minutes? And just like tattoo this little crossbow on my
sick.
hand. And like, I couldn't be more happy with that thing. I was playing a lot of Dark Souls 3 at the time.
Dark Souls 3, is that a video game?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I'm not
an
too...
incredibly hard video game.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're a gamer. So you have...
yeah, I'm kind of I've fallen off a little bit with the gaming, being that, I don't know, there's more productive things to be done sometimes, but sometimes it's the inspiration that you need. It's being a gamer,
Really?
I would say. Yeah, man. I mean, like when I was a little kid, like I said, karate and video games was my shit.
Yeah.
And then at some point I kind of had to put down the video games for a pencil and a paintbrush and stuff like that, which is, you know, I happily can make that change. But every once in a while I still pick up the controller and dabble a little bit.
What console are you playing on right now?
I fuck around with the PlayStation 4.
PlayStation 4?
Yeah.
Is that... The last one I had was like a PlayStation 3. Is there anything above a 4?
No. That's supposedly there's a 5 in the works, but...
Okay.
I
know for a
can't
while
wait to
there,
see what's up with that.
dude, they were pumping them out fast. That seems like they got to 4 pretty fast, and then it just kind of stopped.
Yeah, it's mellowing out for now.
Okay.
But
Dude, so that leads me to one of the next things I wanted to get into is that did you feel drawn to art? Did you feel that you always wanted to do it, or was there something specifically that just struck you in your life that you were all, yo, I want to learn how to do this. I want to learn how to be creative and put these ideas I have in my head to paper or to a canvas or to a body.
I mean, I'd always been interested in art since I can remember. And like over time, I guess it just sort of kept slowly manifesting itself, even though I was always distracting myself with other stuff as a kid. Obviously, you're trying to figure out what's what and what actually piques your interest, you know?
Yeah.
But I just always found that I was just drawn back to that. And then once I started actually sitting down and doing it on the regular, it just kind of became an obsession, which is, I think a pretty good sign that it's worth continuing and seeing where the rabbit hole takes you.
Yeah, I mean, if you wake up in the morning and you're drawing or you're an artist, I mean, that's probably what you're supposed to be doing, right? I mean, you wake up, that's what it is. Like, damn, I want to draw, I want to paint right now. It's like, damn, you're an artist, bro.
Yeah, and the brain just sort of makes you meander to that activity, Like, there's a lot more of that, honestly, before I started doing it full-time for a job, which I do love and appreciate that I have it. A job like this, so cool and strange, but at the same time, it's like it definitely puts a little bit of a damper on just being like, when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you want to do is pick up a pencil, because I'm kind of forced to do it now by my own accord, but it does make it a little harder to pick up the pencil instead of a video game controller or something else like that,
Okay. Yeah. Now, did you have any type of formal training?
I mean, like art classes throughout high school.
Okay.
I did do a little bit of college shit for like a semester and a half, and all of that was like watercolor classes, art classes. So
Awesome, dude.
yeah, I was always slightly informed. Never really had like a great mentor for doing art in the beginning, but once I got into tattoo shops and saw, all the different styles of tattooing, I was kind of a sponge to all of that, just soaking it in and learning.
Yeah, dude. No, I back that. My dad, I've spoke about this before. My dad's an artist. He's a very, very talented and gifted artist. He does portraits.
Okay.
A lot of portraits, but on canvases, big pieces. And then he'll do realism on smaller paintings, but he's always been a painter. He's been drawing as long as I can remember. I mean, one year when we didn't have a whole lot of money growing up, but we weren't, super broke later in my life. But there was, dude, it had to have been like 4th or 5th grade. My dad would not spring to get me some Grim Reaper shit that I wanted, And you've seen the Halloween store Spirit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know how the front of it's that Grim Reaper with the skeleton face, but it's just like all black and then just the face and it says Spirit or whatever. My dad, again, I think we just might have been broke. So I was pissed though. And he took me in the store and he's like, well, what do you want that is somewhat cool that we can do? And he ends up buying me a Jason mask. Just a straight regular Jason mask, hockey mask essentially, and then it's blank. He's like, just wait. So we parked, like, if you're looking at the fucking sign, our car was parked basically with the rear of the car facing the sign. So we get in the car and I'm hella pissed. I'm like, nah, bro, I'm not feeling this stupid mask. What am I gonna do? Wear a hood? Stupid. Mm-hmm. And then I'm just sitting there pouting, and then we back up and we go. He basically pulls out, drives around the parking lot, reparks basically where we were on the other way. So we're facing the sign this time. Pulls out a black magic marker. Again, like I said, disclaimer, I was pissed. Now that I look back on this, I was probably one of the most badass things I've ever seen my dad do in real life. He fucking takes his black magic marker. He looks at the sign. He's looking at the Jason mask, looking at the sign, and he just starts drawing the face on it, and then anatomically with how it is, like with the eyes, that's where the eyes went.
Matched everything up.
And he fucking he's like, you wanted Grim Reaper, right? You wanted to do that? He like put it on there. So he, in a way, he made it happen, and I wore it. That was pretty. I wasn't gonna be happy about it, but I was like, now I looked back at it, now I'm all, hell yeah, that was so fucking sick. But that being said, I always appreciated how good at art he is. For Christmas, just a couple years ago, he's 71 now, 72.
Still at it.
Dude, oh yeah. He just went to, a couple years ago, 2015, he went to the University of Florence in Italy and did a semester there, summer semester in their art program, and just painted canvases all day. Just went by himself, got an apartment, and fucking painted all day. And he has these breathtaking pictures, but like a true artist, he's always like, the work's never done, or it's not done. I'm not gonna.
There's always something to say about it.
Yeah, I'm all, bro, what? Or dad, what are you doing? Why aren't you just release these things? Or he has all these paintings, and I'm like, are you gonna paint me one? Paint me a picture, bro. I'll buy you a fucking canvas. I bought him one. Still don't have it.
Dude,
Yeah, never going to get it, bro.
Qualms of dealing with an artist.
Dude, my fucking dad, bro. But that's why I appreciate what he does, and I appreciate people like yourselves. That's why I love having tattoo people on, because for me, I'm not really into painting. I'm not really so much into even doing art, but I mean, speaking to both my parents, they consider my coffee or the skateboarding that I've done, they're like, that's how your art, that's how you express yourself,
yeah,
right?
Everyone manifests it differently, for sure.
Exactly. My parents are both artists, which is very interesting. But I look at my dad and I see what he's done. In my grandmother's house, there's this canvas that he actually did finish, and it was a painting of a church that was, I guess, the church that they went to when they were younger. And he did it just straight by looking at it and like killed it. I was like, fuck, dude. It's looks exactly like it. Like, holy shit. I feel like I know exactly what that is. I mean, it's gone now, but the painting is still in my grandmother's house. The church. But the painting is still in my
down or decommissioned.
Probably, I think it was decommissioned by that point, yeah. But it's I don't know, bro. I have such an affinity for people like yourselves that can just pull this fucking idea out of your dome. And
yeah, there's a lot of ideas spiraling around in there.
Dude.
It's
how do you get inspired to do a piece?
Man, my inspiration comes from so many different places. I would just say the present moment, and then on top of that, maybe, I mean, there's certain artists that I've just always appreciated and valued, like looking at that same painting over and over again. Like Hieronymus Bosch, he was like during the Black Plague, like that era, painting really gnarly oil paintings with just like cryptic weird creatures, and
that fucking nose.
Yeah, dude.
That thing, that Black Plague
beak nose.
Yeah.
A lot of that sort of stuff. Just really trippy, excellent paintings. And then
that have stood the test of time? Are they photos, or do you see actual canvases?
I've seen a few in person.
Yeah, not recommissioned ones.
No, some. I want to say I've only seen 2 originals, but also I've seen a bunch of people that did reproductions, like really nice big reproductions that are in art museums and whatnot. But yeah, his stuff is great, all of it. A couple of other painters from that era, and then I'd say more recently, artists like Frank Frazetta that I remember seeing Fire and Ice, the movie, for the first time. It's like weird, like animation, but over live action. It was like, but in like the late 70s or early 80s it was made, I want to say. And just like really cool, gnarly, brutal art.
It's brutal art.
Brutal. And then games like Dark Souls that I had mentioned earlier, video games definitely like layer a different amount of inspiration to my art, because it is strange to be, there's VR video games by now. Like the amount of art that goes into making a video game, even if it is all computer code and stuff. I mean, there's still people doing concept drawings and whatnot, but it's like pretty impressive, the amount of art that goes into that stuff. So certainly
that's awesome, dude.
Sticks with me.
So what would you say your style of art would be, or your style of tattooing?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Because I've seen some of the pieces,
stuff like that.
So no, me too.
Maybe like dark traditional. I don't know.
Because I've seen you do. I mean, how I met you. I mean, we share the wall right here. I'm roasting. You're tattooing, but I think you've almost tatted almost everybody in the shop. You tatted Josh, tatted me, tatted Brittany before she left. Did you tat Blue as well?
I did, yeah.
Dude,
it's been cool.
You've pretty much gotten everybody in here almost.
Tag everybody up, yeah.
Dude, that's fucking badass. Do you ever trip out and say, dude, just go next door. I have a walking portfolio.
Yeah, dude, by now it's true. I dig that. And I mean, in like the traditional apprenticeship approach to tattooing, like that is so key to success, is just to, there's like, by now there's, all these social media things and stuff like that, but it's just undeniable to just put your art on people that are actually just wandering around that particular neighborhood and just let it live. And people have eyes, man. Like they're going to see that thing and be like, whoa, who did that?
Yeah.
And I would honestly prefer to make a client that way, because then I don't have to play this like hit the little buttons on the black screen game, hit send, and
Oh, yeah.
like, I mean, that's fine and all, but it is really cool to just have human interactions without the technology.
Well, you can legitly just say, hey, yeah, go next door. I did this dude's hand. I did a full hand piece on him, you know. Yeah, go take a look at his hand. I'm
really thankful that Josh took care of that tattoo while it was healing, because that can be a tricky one to heal.
Really?
But yeah, he did a nice job. I'm stoked.
Sick, dude. Yeah, no, when I was looking at, I mean, that's why I wanted to get you tap done by you, because I saw your typography. And for me, that was huge. I mean, I've decided, I know which direction I want to go. What I want to start tatting the rest of my body. It's going to be, the only way I can think about it would be like a Chicano gangster stuff. So Old English, this is like the way I do it, that I want to do it. I want to have, you know, some sugar skulls and some just like really crazy cryptic, like Vato, Cholo-esque stuff going on. I mean, that's what...
Keep it tough with the black and gray.
Dude, yeah.
Hell
straight
yeah,
up.
dude.
I want to get more Old English. I want to get more... I want to get, you know, like a beautiful lady, but with like the sugar skull, like outline on her face, or, you know, maybe like a clown-esque thing. Yeah, I want to go more towards that direction. But when I was looking at your work, I saw your typography. I was like, bro, like, I don't have to go to some cholo-ass tattoo shop, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I was like, dude, Ash is right here. I could just get him to do it, and it fucking came out so perfect. But I already thought about it as, I want to get essentially like a half sleeve here and go down to my hand, and it'll just be like all super choloed. Because I've seen hand pieces. This dude basically blacked out the fingers, and he made it like a paisley bandana, and then put the girl's face here, and it was like over the face. Dude, it was done at this tattoo shop that I'm thinking about going to, but it's up there. It's called like Cryptic Tattoo, and it's, dude, straight, all just like hood looking dudes that just look tough. And they like some of the dudes on their Instagram just look hella gangster. I'm just like, ooh, but it still looks pretty tough. Like, I don't know, but that's kind of the direction I've wanted to go in. But I definitely appreciate all the homies that I've had tattoo me, because I've started to realize like the theme is, you know, skulls and somewhat traditional, but I don't know, because I have my other homie Scooter who did like this one with the panda smoking, you know, with
Paradise Panda.
Dude,
Tight.
I call it my spirit animal, and you know, he's smoking a peace pipe with an Aloha shirt. And I'm like, bro, that's me all day right there, homie. Not minus like the chubby belly, but you know, maybe
you're
one
a
day.
smaller than a panda for now.
Dude, the one thing I wanted to get into too is, and I didn't know this about you until last week when we were sitting there getting tatted. You lived in Europe, and you had mentioned that already. So
yeah.
How long did you live there for?
Just under 5 years. Yeah. Seems to be my... Every 5 years I end up bouncing somewhere new, but maybe it won't happen with San Diego.
I don't think it will. Even if it does, I bet you... And
yeah,
I only
I'm pretty
speak
sure
from
this
personal
is home
experience.
base from here on out.
Yeah, dude, from personal experience, I left here. Since I've moved here, I left for 1 year, and I came right back. Straight up. So it's hard to leave here once you do, personally, so I can definitely say that. But why Europe? Why did you decide to go there?
Well, I met a beautiful lady and decided to give it a go. So I moved.
She's from there?
Yeah. So moved out there and bounced between like Italy as a home base. I would go do guest spots in like Frankfurt and Berlin. Conventions out in Frankfurt is what kind of started that whole friend circle, and just like traveling. Went to Paris, a couple other smaller cities in France. Nantes was pretty cool.
Nantes?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Really took it in as much as I could, and just used tattooing as a crutch to continue to keep everything afloat while I did that. Which
do you
was
find it
definitely a risk in and of itself?
Do you find that tattooing was an international language in a sense?
Yeah. I mean, in some places I almost didn't have any other language to fall back on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I would do guest spots in Italy in particular, where it was just like pretty bare bones conversation. Sometimes now I feel like I still sort of zone out when I'm really getting into a tattoo, and like I'm less conversational than a lot of other tattooers are. Maybe because I did spend a couple of years just kind of like awkwardly not having a language. You know? Like I should have been less lazy about learning Italian, but it just didn't come to me quickly. And while I was there, it was pretty weird because between all the traveling and all the countries, there's still some English as a common language. And a lot of people were more interested in trying to practice their English and excited to meet an American person. Yeah. Because I tell them I'm from New York, and there's no discussion about which part of New York. That's just, you know,
you're an American, all of a sudden you speak English. I want to practice. It's the same thing that we want to do as essentially when you're learning another language.
For sure. And like I was happy to have them wanting to, you know, communicate with me and figure that out. So
of
that
course.
was cool.
Yeah. So girlfriend, wife? Wife.
Yeah.
So she's from what part of Italy is she from?
Outside of Milan, like that area. Originally, actually, she's Sicilian.
Oh wow. Okay.
But, she's dead now.
Oh shit, dude. I'm sorry.
No, not really, but
oh damn. Okay.
Not to make it weird.
No.
I was kind of skirting that topic.
Oh, dude, my bad. No, fuck. I didn't know that. I'm so sorry, dude. I didn't know. We can move on. Unless you want to talk, but you don't want to talk about?
No.
Okay.
We're good
okay.
On that one.
Okay, cool.
But it was a terrific adventure, and I'm really happy that it had happened.
Okay. Yeah. Fuck. Well, so that's why you came back to the States then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, okay. Well, yeah. So San Diego's pretty fucking chill. You know, what have you thought about, you know, being in a shop where there's Ink Master, like alum, like Turk,
dude,
and then
it's strange. It never crossed my mind at all. And then funny and awkward enough, when I moved out here, like hit the road to come out, when I arrived, Turk was just MIA. And it was like because of his contractual agreement, he wouldn't say where he was. So Crystal, his wife, just had to straight up like be like aloof about where he was while he was gone.
Fuck? Really? So, that's how they do that?
Yeah, dude. Which is just weird to me. Like, I guess you can tell only your very closest of kin what's happening, but it's still like, a vow of silence of sorts. So it was weird because I, you know, was super stoked to get out here, got here. And it's just like he was MIA for like 3.5 weeks. So I was like, what did I just move here for? This is really strange. Like, where's Turk? And then sure enough, he came back, and then
he was able to talk about it?
Yeah, not really. He could say that that's where he was. And then you had to wait for each episode to air before he could discuss any of that sort of stuff. But prior to that, I hadn't had cable in so many years that I'd never really checked out that show at all. Gotcha. Just kind of wrapped up in my own little version of the universe.
Of course.
So I never put much thought into it. But now that, I mean, it's just another cool aspect of this shop, you know, like Turk did really well on there. He's a great artist. Like, it brings in anyone from social media that realizes that he does work in San Diego is going to want to come in and meet him because, you know, he's an interesting cat with a lot of interesting stuff to say.
Dude, he really does, and that's pretty friggin' awesome. But I mean, even last week when I was getting tatted, that other dude who was on his season was in there tatting.
Yeah.
So do you feel now that you've, I guess, essentially been exposed to it, you've been around it, they talk about it, you're meeting other contestants, if you will, other tattooers, do you feel that might be something you want to get into for you know, a next elevation of your career or status, essentially?
I'm not so sure, man. I think that I would prefer to just keep on doing it the way I've been doing it so far.
Yeah.
It seems to work all right.
Buttery.
It doesn't have that extra level of chaos factor.
Dude, yeah. I mean,
I'm not sure I would want to be in that scenario, having to like do stressful ass tattoos with a bunch of people watching And I know it's for like a reward and it gains you more attention, but I guess being a Turk sidekick, I'm cool with just hanging out with my hood up and tattooing anyone that comes into the shop that his hands are too busy to not be able to tattoo.
Yeah.
I will very happily sit you down and make you laugh and give you some new ink, you know?
Fuck yeah, dude.
Like,
Did
I guess I'm kind of like more relaxed in that regard.
Okay.
About it.
Now, are you trying to get in any mags or? I mean, dude, I sound like a complete jock when I say that because my whole mentality is I think about skateboarding.
Right.
And that's when you're
like, get your photos into a skate magazine.
Get your photos
that's
in there.
rad,
You're trying to
dude.
get the regs, and then now with things like social media. But that's the other thing is that things with social media nowadays, dude, your portfolio. You don't have to make it an old school sense of a portfolio.
Yeah,
your portfolio
it's weird,
is your
dude, that
Instagram.
It's just there.
Yeah.
It's such a strange change up that happened pretty quickly.
Yeah. So do you find that you're maybe trying to get featured on maybe like inked magazines like Instagram or things like that? Do I sound like completely a fucking idiot right now? Sorry.
No, that's like some shit like I'll give my my coworker Natia, I'll give her beef because she like will hashtag a whole bunch of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm pretty lazy with that. Maybe I shouldn't be. I don't know, but I'm content with what I have at the moment.
You're just building it organically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I have bounced around a lot of times, like I mentioned, and setting up camp in a new city or a new environment. Conventions are tricky and weird because you're only there, 5 days. Guest spot's kind of the same, and then you keep returning, so it's a slow build up of clients. And that's how I started here, and now it's just a little bit of social media, but a lot just meeting people and.
Well, yeah, dude, you're fucking
doing the
so chill.
Face-to-face thing.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Dude, you're in here. I mean, you come in a couple times a day, and you'll come in just to kick it, come in to get coffee, do whatever. But it's always so, like we were talking about it before the podcast. I was like, when I pulled my phone out, you got that persona. But then I'm like, bro, like you're so nice, you're so happy-go-lucky, you're chill as fuck, and you're rad to talk to. I see you almost every day. I see you more than I see a lot of my best friends that I grew up with. That's what led us to having this conversation right now.
Totally.
So I think in an indirect way, this is going to be one of those things that helps you. This give you a platform. I mean, to share a personal story today.
Yeah, for sure.
Things have progressively started to get rolled with this, and the more people I have on, the more people are going to download and hear it and do these things. But there was the one I did yesterday for Lucadia Barbershop. This guy who I've never met before, he's in Connecticut, and I only know this because I was like, I got a request. This guy tagged me, and then he tagged Lucadia Barbershop, and he's like grilling and listening to the new Caffeine and Green of Lucadia Barbershop. And I wish I could fucking remember his name right now. But if you're listening, the dude in Connecticut, shout out. Thank you so much. Keep listening. But I saw that, and my wife had just walked in, and I looked at it, and I was all, what the fuck? I don't know this dude. He doesn't know anybody I know. He's like some barber in fucking Connecticut, and he's backing this.
Yeah, dude. It's a cool feeling.
It fucking rules. And it makes me, I'm so thankful for everybody who wants to be a part of the show and everybody who's actually downloading and listening. So now, with that being said, that right there, dude, there's people who I have no connection to, no separation of six, just random people that are finding the podcast and are going to know about you, and they're going to know about every other guest that I've had on. And that right there is why I do this. So it elevates and gives you yourself a platform to fucking be like, yo, this is my homie. He fucking kills it. Come and get tattooed by him. Put money in your motherfucking pocket and get some art, done by him, and become a walking piece, and like really get to hear that passion and that enthusiasm that you have about your craft. Your chance to shine, bro.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here.
Dude,
it's so cool.
Yeah, of course.
And any of the listeners, all the listeners, thank you guys for listening. And when you hit up San Diego, make sure to swing by South Park. Check out our block, man.
Yep, our block is fucking mean right now, dude.
Hell yeah.
Left Hand Black, 7 Seas Roasting. I mean, dude, we've done an hour 6 right now. I mean, we could just cut it right there because it sounded like we were doing a natural, like...
Yeah,
dude,
that was perfect.
Tell the people where they can find you, though, specifically. location, actual physical, and then Instagram, stuff like that?
Right on. You can find me at Left Hand Black Tattoo and Art Gallery in San Diego, California. And I guess on the internet, it would be at a Riot 666.
Yes. I love that. Yeah. A Riot, that's ARIOT 666, the number of the beast.
Holla!
Yes. All right. Thank you so much again, Ash.
Dude, thank you, Kano.
Yes. All right.
That was
Peace.
rad.